The bottom line is you're getting in the habit now of checking those turning instruments while you taxi. I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Hello aviators, and welcome back to the Finer Points. In this short video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that will just make you a better all-around pilot. This is low-hanging fruit. These are easy opportunities to take your game up a notch, and if you're not already doing these things, you can be. The first one is failure modes. You have to understand that when you first get to the cockpit and turn on the master switch, you're looking at a situation where the electrical system is on, but the engine is not. That's what you'll see in an engine failure, in part. So it's important to think about that regardless of what kind of airplane you're flying, to think about it like an opportunity to check the failure modes of your instrument panel. So I'm just here pre-flighting the airplane, and one thing I see a lot of students fail to observe is that when you turn on the electricity right here in the parking spot, in the very beginning of your pre-flight, right, you turn on to potentially drop the flaps or check your exterior lighting or check the pitot heat. That's an opportunity to check all of your failure modes. The engine isn't on, right? So you should see a flag on your attitude indicator. You should see your ammeter discharging, and you can verify that the needle works right here in the tie down area so that you don't have to try to, flick it out there in the run-up area. You should see all these indications. See, there's a flag on the attitude indicator, there's a flag on the turn coordinator, and when I turn on the electricity, you can note that the ammeter is discharging. So right there, you know that your electrical system is indicating properly. If you're flying a G1000, in principle, it doesn't change much. You're still going to be checking failure modes, but the indications you're looking for will be a little different. When you're doing your final walk around, that's after the pre-flight is complete, just check the bottoms of the tires, or if they have wheel pants, just roll the tires all the way around. Just make sure that you don't see any blind spots. Anything where white tread is showing could be a problem. It's kind of hard to see here. I'm actually pushing mostly on the spinner and a little bit on the propeller, very close to the hub. You would never want to push on the propeller tip out here, and as I watch myself, it would be better to push right here on the cowling. Lastly, you should be checking your turning instruments during taxi. Some checklists have this, some don't, but it's a great standard procedure to go with you. The bottom line is you're getting in the habit now of checking those turning instruments while you taxi. Check my turning gauges. A right turn shows numbers increasing on both the heading indicator and the compass. Turn coordinator turned to the right. The attitude indicator remained stable. And the ball moved to the outside of the turn. Okay, left turn, numbers decrease on the heading indicator and the compass. Turn coordinator turns left, ball moves to the outside of the turn, and the attitude indicator stays stable. If you don't feel comfortable doing those taxi turns, checking those turning instruments while you're sort of in close quarters like I was there in the flight center, it's fine to just wait till you get out here on an open taxiway and then just kind of S-turn a little bit. There's an old podcast, I think number 3 or 4 in my entire life, called Crazy Drunk Drivers, talking about how people do these taxi turns. So just kind of weave left, weave right. Over time, though, the goal would be that you were able to sort of divide your attention and pick up the information you want incidental to the route of your taxi, so you don't necessarily have to do that weaving around. What you're looking for there is obviously that your attitude indicator remains stable. There should be no bank at all, but you're allowed up to 5 degrees. There really shouldn't be any on the ground because you're not banking, you're yawing. If you're in a G1000 or other glass panel airplane, make sure your backup attitude indicator is also checked. Then your other turning instruments, heading indicator, compass, both of those numbers should increase right and decrease left. The turn indicator, if you're glass, or turn coordinator, if you're not, should turn in the proper direction, and the ball should move to the outside of the turn, or in the case of glass, the slab should move to the outside of the turn. That's all for this episode of The Finer Points. I hope those 3 little tips help improve your game. Remember that when you renew your AOPA membership to add pilot protection services, also, lots of extra content always at Patreon. The full archive from the daily Instagram live sessions I was doing during the quarantine. They're all up at Patreon. And if you like little tips like the ones you saw in this video, our ground school app, there's a full 3-day trial. It's full of little practical tips like that. A huge thanks to you, the best fans on the internet, for watching this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. I'm Jason Miller, and until next time, be safe and fly your best.